Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Money After Military. My name is Jack Martin. I'm a program assistant with the Office of Economic Empowerment and the Veterans Bonus Division. And today's topic is Homebuying 101 for Veterans, presented by MassHousing. So a quick agenda here, we'll do some housekeeping, followed by an intro to the Office of Economic Empowerment and the Veterans Bonus Division. Then we'll get into MassHousing presentation, followed by a Q&A session at the end. Some disclosures: this is a Zoom webinar and will be recorded. The recording may be uploaded onto a public website for future use. Any information shared through the Q&A function will be anonymous. Please note, however, that the chat record is subject to public record laws and as such is not anonymous. This is a Zoom webinar and not a meeting, so viewers will not be able to see other participants. However, you can ask questions via the chat function or the Q&A feature. And we kindly ask you to fill out a short exit survey after this webinar to help us improve our future events. This will pop up on your screen automatically. Should only take about 1 to 2 minutes to complete. So about OEE. OEE is a department within the Office of the Treasurer and Receiver General of Massachusetts, tasked with supporting, advocating, and facilitating policies that empower all Massachusetts residents. Our programs serve women, families, high school students, veterans, and older adults. Our priorities include financial education, closing the race and gender wage gap, racial equity, college affordability, and promoting STEM education. The Veterans Bonus Division is a department within the Office of the Treasurer and Receiver General of Massachusetts that provides payments to veterans for service in the United States military. Through our program, we serve veterans of the Commonwealth and their families by providing financial assistance when eligible. The Veterans Bonus Division distributes bonuses for eligible active duty, discharged, and deceased Massachusetts veterans who served during various conflicts in single or multiple deployments. And for a complete list of our bonuses, you can visit our website by visiting www.vetsbonusma.com. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to pass it over to Angelo and Richard of MassHousing.
So good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for inviting us to give you an update on some of the programs that are available specifically to first-time home buyers in Massachusetts, but also MassHousing's programs, which we'll get to. I know we only have about an hour, so we're going to try and give you as much information initially as we can about just kind of the process, because we want you to really understand what the process is and give you an opportunity to ask us questions about just mortgages in general, what's coming up in the Commonwealth, what can you do, how you can incorporate your family. So Richard Petici and I want to introduce Rich, and he'll give you a little bit of feedback about himself. But I've been with MassHousing now for about 15 years. My job is specifically to help first-time home buyers, primarily first-time home buyers, help you get into your first home, but help you do it in the right way. We want to make sure that when you go out and purchase that home, that you're doing the best for yourself and for your family. So now I'd like to just introduce Rich and have him tell a little bit about himself.
Sure, I appreciate that, Angelo. And once again, Jack, thank you for the opportunity. I know MassHousing, we greatly appreciate it. I've been with the agency for just about 8 years. All 8 years I have been in the home ownership division with Angelo, actually. And the way he described what our positions and kind of what our mission is like at the agency was completely spot on. We kind of have the same type of roles. And I specifically focus a little bit more on our lending partners. And when my piece comes up, I'll be going over the different loan programs and down payment assistance and mortgage insurance options that we offer here at MassHousing.
So great. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into it and talk about. Let me just move this out of the way here and talk about how you prepare for those first steps in home ownership. And Massachusetts is a little bit unusual in that we've got some extra laws that are in there to protect you when you're going through the home ownership process. And we also have a different type of inventory that you will find nowhere else. And part of that is that we've got lots of multifamilies. And if you go to many parts of the country, you won't find as many. of this type. Lots of condominiums. Of course, condominiums are everywhere, but we've got townhouses. We've got kind of the unusual, and we've got a lot of affordable properties, which are a lot of lottery properties, 40B. These are the deed restricted properties that allow you as a first-time home buyer, depending on where you would like to reside, an opportunity to buy a property below market price, because we know that it's difficult sometimes to grow up in a particular community and not be able to buy there. So one of the options that is available for those who want to go in this direction is to purchase a home that is below market value. So you get all the benefits of home ownership, but you're able to buy that home for several $100,000 below market value. But there is a little bit of a restriction there. And that is that home can only be passed on to other individuals and families who earn under a certain dollar amount. And in order to keep that property available, the property value stays below market, which means you're not able to share in all of the equity, but there are some benefits there. So from the perspective of individuals and families who are in the military, some of the documents that pretty much are across the board that you're going to be asked for when you start that initial process, which is we're going to find out, how much do you earn? In the military, retired or not, we need to verify how much you earn. And a lot of that is going to be taken directly from your tax returns. Maybe you've retired from the military and you started a business on the side. Maybe you're a consultant, or maybe you work, you've got a W-2 and you're working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So we need to verify where your income comes from. There are some programs within MassHousing and others where they may require your DD 214 to determine whether or not you've exited the military, because there are a lot of lenders who have resources that are available to you when you close as a gift, as a grant, and they may just want to know that you certainly have served in the military. 60 days of bank statements. So even though we're in a technology mode, everything now is on your phone. Banks, mortgage companies, credit unions, wherever you're going to go to get your mortgage loan, you're going to need to get and provide 60 days of bank statements. And this is so that we know exactly where and how much you've saved, but also where those resources came from. There are times that you may receive a gift. There's resources that you may have when you depart from the military. There may be a bonus that you receive. There may be a bonus that you receive when you re-up. So we need to know where those resources are and that they're in a stable environment. The 3 years tax returns are to determine, one, whether or not you have owned a property in the last 3 years, because many of the first-time homebuyer programs that you will see have a requirement that you have not owned a home in the last 3 years or have any interest. So you are able to take part in the resources in some of the specialized programs that are available. So that's why they ask for your tax return. And then FICO score. So FICO stands for Fair Isaac Company. They're one of the primary companies that combines all of your information and kind of spits it out to the 3 reporting agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and what's the third one, Rich? TransUnion, Equifax, and I always forget the third one. But there are 3 credit bureaus that are used. So, and we'll talk a little bit about them. We have some information also regarding how to get a free credit report. So that you're not being taken advantage with some of these ads that you'll find on television. So building your team. This is an informational session, and we do a lot of these. On a weekly basis, we're probably doing 2 to 3 of these, but we also do certified first-time homebuyer classes. And that's the next step that you will need to take. We want you to take a certified class because by taking that class, it opens up the world of down payment assistance and resources that will be available to you. So there are several counseling agencies that we at MassHousing use across the Commonwealth. There are about 62 in all. And you'll need to take that first-time homebuyer class. Some of them, the range of cost is anywhere from $35 to $45 up to $75. Many of them are online. Some of them are face-to-face. We just started doing face-to-face classes again. Just this last weekend, I was in Lynn doing a face-to-face class. Then there is the loan officer. Because MassHousing is a quasi-public agency, you cannot come directly to us. So what we do is refer you to the 116 lenders, which are banks, credit unions, mortgage companies, and loan officers who actually will sit down with you and take about an hour to 2 hours of your time. Of course, a lot of that right now is done electronically. If you call a loan officer, he or she will ask you to put together all of that information that we talked about under the first checkpoint and electronically get that to them. You can still mail it to them also. But that loan officer will then compile all of that information and determine how much of a mortgage you can afford. And then next, after you receive your pre-approval, the next step is contacting that real estate professional. And the real estate professional is going to now take you out, show you properties that you're interested in buying, whether it be a single family, a condominium, or a multifamily, a 2, 3, or 4 family. But they will not take you out to show you a property until you've been pre-approved. So you have to get pre-approved first. You can call all the real estate agents out there that you can, but I will pretty much guarantee you that none of them will take you out to look at a property until you have a pre-approval in hand, saying, this is how much of a mortgage I can afford. And then next, if you decide, is legal representation. Some people already have a family attorney that they'll reach out to pre-purchase, post-purchase, the closing, and use your own attorney. Some people will just use an attorney just to review documents. That's up to you, but it's a suggestion that many of us will make. Yes, there is an extra cost to having legal representation, but in many cases, a real estate attorney will charge you a flat fee to represent you and or just review the documents to make sure that they're appropriate. Then comes down payment assistance, what's available out there. Certainly MassHousing has down payment assistance. The Federal Home Loan Bank has down payment assistance that's available to you. And then there are many communities that have their own resources that are available. Something that's going to be happening, and you'll hear a lot more about it over the next 60 days or so, is that the federal government, through the Department of Community and Housing in Massachusetts, will be releasing grant money. We're releasing grant money. So you don't have to pay this back under certain circumstances as long as you stay in the property. They will be releasing this program within the next 30 to 60 days, and it will be available up to $50,000 will be available in grant money, depending on where you currently live and your income level and so on. But there are going to be a lot of resources that will be made available to you as a first-time home buyer in the coming months. Something that MassHousing does just for current and former military is that with all of our programs, doesn't matter what program you use with MassHousing, when you close, we give you a credit of $2,500, which can be used towards your closing costs. So that's MassHousing. Other lenders also have grant money available to current and former military. All you have to do is ask. When you sit down with the loan officer, just say, hey, oh, by the way, I hear that there are a lot of lenders out there that offer, $500, $1,000, $1,500. They may be one of them. Always ask. MassHousing, it's easy. $2,500 across the board for current, former military, Gold Star family members, reservists also. So just wanted to introduce you to Evan Dupree. He is someone who has purchased a first-time home buyer, purchased a home using a MassHousing loan. And you'll see some of these photographs kind of interspersed with our slide deck. And our slide deck will be made available to you if you wish. You'll be able to reach out to us and contact us. So how do you prepare for home ownership, and are you ready? Some of the choices. First thing is you've got to determine what type of property type. whether it be a single family, a condominium, townhouse. If you're thinking about a 2 to 4 family, you're going to have to put down a minimum of 3% of your own money. And there are several types of programs out there that might require you to put down as much as 10%. But if you're thinking about buying a multifamily, you have to take a first-time home buyer class, and then there is a secondary class that you have to take specifically targeted for landlords. Because not only is in Massachusetts different, but with our restrictions, you really do have to be prepared if you want to be a landlord. Also, the prices of multifamilies have skyrocketed. 5 years ago, you might be able to purchase a 2 or 3 family for $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. In some communities, multifamilies now are $1.2 million, $1.3 million, $1.5 million, depending on where you're buying. So you do have to be prepared for multifamilies. I mentioned affordable housing, deed restricted properties. That's an option for you also. These properties come in single families, condominiums, and multifamilies, depending on the community that you might want to reside. You go through that process. The mortgage process takes about 60 days. It's actually a little bit quicker now. And that's because everyone is getting pre-qualified. Everyone has their documentation in. A lot of the sellers of homes are looking for quick sales. So if you're really prepared and you're out there looking, you may find that there's some opportunities to buy, especially if you can close quickly. That may put you in a better situation when you're making that bid. So the mortgage process has sped up over the last probably, I would say 12 months. It has sped up considerably. But you put in your offer to purchase, you've been pre-approved. Now the process starts. There's an appraisal that's done on the property, determine how much the property is worth. Something that is happening right now, and I can tell you this firsthand because I have children who have purchased homes in the last year, is that of course, as you're making offers, the sellers of the properties will say, well, yes, you know what? You're buying this property and you're offering more than what I asked for. The property still has to appraise. So some sellers are saying, well, we need you as the buyer to take care of the gap, take care of the difference between what you're paying for the house and what the appraiser may actually say it's worth, because the bank isn't going to give you more money than what the property is appraised for. So that gap may have to be filled by yourself. So there are some sellers that want you to fill that gap. And then now you've closed on the home. So what are some of the responsibilities? There are the taxes, there's the maintenance. My youngest son purchased a condominium a few months ago. His AC isn't cooling anymore. So who does he call? Well, he calls the AC company because that's his, it's up to him now to take care of that. Probably just needs some Freon or coolant actually, but that's up to him now. If you're a landlord, I mentioned earlier, there's some, when you're a landlord, you take on all of those responsibilities themselves. But if you get into trouble, if you can't make your mortgage payment, if you're going to be late, if there's a crisis in your family, call the servicer. It doesn't matter where that servicer is located, what state they're in, call the servicer and talk to them and let them know what's going on. And then some of the resources that are available, a company that we work with, which is called Credit Smart, which is called, Freddie Mac. And I'll have links to these resources. They have a specific program that they built just for military personnel, active duty personnel, so that you avoid scams, you understand how credit is built, and that you're prepared for that next step. Because we want you to be in the best program for you, whether it's a MassHousing program, whether it's an MHP program, whether it's any program. We want you to be in a program that is safe and stable for you and your family. And this is a great program. It's free. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are two of the largest providers of resources for first-time homebuyers in the country. So Freddie Mac put together this program specifically for military personnel. And so some of the resources, if you're looking for a first-time homebuyer program, Chapter.org is a great place to go. They also list affordable properties that are available. The Federal Home Loan Bank, the Equity Builder, which is a grant that's available. Now, I will tell you that the Federal Home Loan Bank has money twice a year. We just went through the first iteration of that. So that money for the first part of the year is gone. They will no longer have any funds available until the fall. So in September, they will have money available again. But go out there, check out their website so you're prepared. Freddie Mac, the program that I just mentioned, the Credit Smart for the military, check out that website. It's great information, it's free, and it gives you some resources that you can tap into if you're not prepared or if you've got to make some changes. FICO scores and credit scores. Annualcreditreport.com, it's free. Annualcreditreport.com is free. Now, if you want your credit score, your FICO score, you will have to pay a small fee for that. But to actually get your credit reports from the 3 credit bureaus, you can go through annualcreditreport.com and get your free credit reports from all of the bureaus for free of charge. And the way to do it, because there are 3 bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Rich, what was the last one? Equifax, TransUnion, and
Experian. I couldn't
Experian,
unmute in time on the first one.
Experian. So those are the 3 bureaus, free of charge. If you're having some challenges with your credit, this is a great way for you to view your credit during the year. So check with one in the beginning of the year, check with the second one in the middle of the year, check with the third at the end of the year, and you can get all of your credit information free. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Rich, and he's going to take you through some of the MassHousing programs. And Rich, just let me know when you'd like me to move the screen forward.
Okay, sure. Did you want me to just cover that first slide a little bit, just about kind of who MassHousing is?
There you go. Yeah, sure.
So thank you, Angelo. So I'm going to start with a little bit of basic information kind of about who MassHousing is, how we operate, and what our mission looks like. And we're the state's affordable housing finance agency. And what we're tasked with doing is coming up with unique and affordable mortgage solutions throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Angelo mentioned we are a quasi-state agency, so we are not funded by the state, but we are affiliated. And how we operate is we are not a direct lender. So what that means is when you're ready to get pre-approved for a MassHousing loan, you would actually be reaching out directly to one of our approved lending partners that you can locate on masshousing.com. So what happens is they're going to be working with you from start to finish. So from pre-approval up until closing, you'll be working directly with one of those lending partners. How we come back into play is once you close on the home, we then purchase that loan from the originating lender and we become your loan servicer. So we're not going to be selling your loan. So your loan's not going to change servicers. It's not going to go down south, out west, anywhere where you're going to have trouble contacting your loan servicer. We service it directly. We're located on 1 Beacon Street. So if you ever had any questions, concerns, I mean, you can certainly reach out to Angela and myself, but we do have a loan servicing team located directly in Boston. So once again, very important, your loan is not going to be sold. Just speaking on personal examples, I currently have a mortgage as well. My servicing has changed a couple of times. With that comes different kind of contacts and worrying about if your insurance policy is transferring over and your taxes are getting paid on time. So that's really important. At MassHousing, we require you to escrow. So that what that means is we're going to handle the on-time payments of your taxes and insurance to the city or town and to your applicable insurance providers. So once again, local loan servicing goes a very long way. As far as the different institutions that we are partnered with, we do have a wide variety. So we have larger mortgage lending institutions, we have local savings banks, and we also have credit unions. So you may be surprised if you go take a look at our website, somebody that you currently work with could already be an approved MassHousing lender, and they'd be able to help you out with everything that we're going to review this afternoon. And just to put it into perspective, kind of about what our footprint looks like throughout the state, we've been around for over 50 years now. And since then, we've actually helped over 90,000 borrowers utilize our financing options to purchase a home. Next slide, please. So we're going to start with the overview of the MassHousing programs, and kind of right off the bat, we like to bring to your attention some basic check marks that need to be met before thinking about if you're eligible for a MassHousing loan. And one of the main requirements is we do not allow you to own another property at the time of closing. We also require you to occupy the property as your primary residence, and we do not allow for non-occupant co-borrowers or co-signers. As we move along, you'll notice we do have certain income and underwriting requirements that must be met, and we'll review those shortly. And as I mentioned earlier, loans are serviced directly by us here at MassHousing, and we do require you to escrow. So there are some loan programs out there where you can handle the payment of your insurance and your taxes, but with MassHousing, that is a required item that we are going to escrow that for you and handle the disbursement of those payments accordingly. Our income limits do vary by program, and you'll see that shortly as well. And if you're not eligible for one, for whatever reason that may be, you may be over the income or something else does not work out for you with that particular loan product, we do have a wide variety, and it's not a one size fits all. So as Angela mentioned earlier, always just ask the questions. Make sure you're asking your loan officer all the questions that you have. Never feel hesitant to ask any questions, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get the answer. And I can't tell you how many times we've talked to potential first-time home buyers that found out great information by just asking questions, and sometimes finding out things they were eligible for that they would have never even known if they did not ask the question. So asking questions, I think, is one of the most important things throughout the home buying process. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to start with what we call kind of one of the big three, I should say, and three important aspects of MassHousing that really is important for first-time home buyers. And first and foremost, down payment assistance. So we all know how tough saving for down payment assistance is, and especially for first-time home buyers can really deter you, and is frequently one of the biggest barriers for first-time home buyers. And you'll see that there really isn't much down payment assistance out there in the marketplace that mimics or reflects what MassHousing offers. And you'll see that shortly as well. And I know Angelo mentioned this earlier too, but our down payment assistance, it can be utilized in conjunction with other community down payment programs, such as he mentioned, the Federal Home Loan Bank has the Equity Builder Program and the Housing Our Workforce. Those are two examples of different type of down payment assistance that will also be used in conjunction with our down payment assistance to really alleviate the out-of-pocket cost for you. And he also mentioned, always be sure to reach out to the municipalities in your local housing authority, because sometimes they have different funding available and different first-time home buyer incentives to get you to their city or town as well. So always just make sure you're checking and kind of exhausting all the resources that are available to you. And something that I do want to touch upon too, as far as down payment assistance goes, we don't have any type of certain windows when you need to apply, or we don't release funds during a certain time of year. So if you're not looking to purchase right away, maybe you're purchasing in a couple of months, 3-4 months down the line, don't worry, you're not going to miss out on anything. I mean, I've been at the agency for over 8 years, and we've had some sort of down payment assistance kind of in the mix and available to first-time home buyers. So there's no real worry as far as worrying about funding running out. And last but not least, we do have different options. So if for some reason your income or your situation doesn't fit out in one of MassHousing's loan programs, we certainly have other options available for you. And if you do want some more information on our down payment assistance specifically, you can just go to masshousing.com/TPA and get some more information. So this next slide, I always say this is kind of 1B. I know we started with down payment assistance, but mortgage payment protection benefit. So at MassHousing, we're unique. We have our own mortgage insurance fund. And what that means, all of our conventional loans that require mortgage insurance are going to be insured directly by MassHousing. So mortgage insurance is required if you're not putting 20% down on the purchase of your home, but with MassHousing, we are insuring it directly. And what that means is we're able to offer a unique benefit to you that does not exist anywhere else out there. And that's what we call MI plus payment protection benefit. So if you have a MassHousing loan with our mortgage insurance and you lose your job, this is what you would have access to. And if for some reason you have to access this benefit, you do not have to pay MassHousing back, and this is at no additional cost to you as the borrower. And what we do is we cover the principal and interest portion of your mortgage for up to 6 months, not to exceed $2,000 per month. And you can use it for any 6 months during your first 10 years of the loan, and this benefit kicks in after you make your first 6 payments. And just to give you an idea on how beneficial this has been over the last few years, I suspect this number may have went up a little bit, but we've actually paid out over $1 million in MI plus benefits to MassHousing loan holders who are unemployed. So typically, mortgage insurance is sometimes seen as a negative, and that it only protects the lender, which is certainly true. That's what the mortgage insurance does. but why not have an additional benefit like this, especially as a first-time home buyer? Having this payment protection, I think, really goes a long way, and it's something that MassHousing is very proud of. Next slide,
And
please.
one additional piece to this is that if you're currently in the military and you get deployed, this also can kick in.
Great point. Yep. And on this slide, fixed interest rates. So everything with MassHousing will always be a 30-year fixed rate. So that means that the rate's not going to change on you throughout the life of the loan. We have responsible underwriting, so we're not going to get you into any loans that you can't afford, that may not be comfortable for you. And there's no hidden fees or surprises. So sometimes the notion is because you're going through MassHousing, we're a finance agency, that there's going to be a length of time added to your transaction because you're going through us. And that's not true. The transaction is not going to take any longer. It won't be any shorter. But because you're using MassHousing, no need to worry about that as well. And as we mentioned, no hidden fees. So you're not going to be getting charged extra because you're using a housing finance agency loan. There will be no surprises or anything like that throughout the process. And we just mentioned the 90,000 borrowers that we helped out that I mentioned on the previous slide. So now we'll get into the actual loan programs, and we do have naming conventions. I always like to say when we're presenting at our classes, just kind of pick up on the benefits and features that of our interest to you. And once we show you how to apply, when you reach out to those loan officers, they're going to know exactly what you're referring to, and they'll really be able to point you in the right direction as far as what loan product at MassHousing fits you best. But what I do want to say is because we have that $2,500 closing cost credit available on every single product, it really opens up the door to more benefits. Previously, we just had one single veterans program that was Operation Welcome Home that you may have heard of before. And now you get to apply the service member veteran benefit to all of our loan products, which really gives more variety for you. So it's something we really are happy for and hope it helps you out down the line. But the Workforce Advantage 3.0 product, you do have to be a first-time home buyer, and that's defined as no ownership interest in the property in the last 3 years. You have to meet the Workforce Advantage 3.0 household income and purchase price limits that I'll show you on the next slide. Mortgage insurance, this is really important. MassHousing, we're actually covering the mortgage insurance for you. So you will have no monthly mortgage insurance added to your total mortgage payment, which is a huge cost savings. We also have no asset limitation, so there's no cap on what you can have in your checking, savings, 401k. That is something that MassHousing does not have. Some of the local programs, though, if you are applying for additional assistance or looking into another loan program, they may have that. But at MassHousing, we do not have a limitation on the assets that you have. As far as property types, you can use this program to purchase 1 through 2 unit properties and condos. And something we always like to point out is you do have to obtain your mortgage through MassHousing. So both loans have to be through MassHousing. So the mortgage to purchase your home and the down payment assistance would be used in conjunction with our MassHousing First Mortgage program. And as I mentioned, that $2,500 closing cost credit is available. And what's even great is because MassHousing is covering the mortgage insurance, and that's what you would be referred to as lender paid mortgage insurance. And a lot of times that is associated with having a higher interest rate. And that is not the case with this particular product. This is the best interest rate on a loan product that MassHousing offers. So that's another great point, huge cost savings for you. And now the really important part, the down payment assistance that's available to you. So with Workforce Advantage 3.0, there's 2 different down payment assistance features, and it's driven by property location. So if you're purchasing in one of the 26 gateway cities, the city of Boston, Framingham, or Randolph, you'll have access to 10% of the purchase price or $50,000, whichever is less in down payment assistance. The remainder of the state, 10% of the purchase price or $30,000, whichever is less in down payment assistance. Either way, both of those options are going to be 0% deferred. So what that means to you is there's no monthly payment on that until you sell, should you refinance, or if you pay off the 30-year loan that you use to purchase the property. So once again, not much down payment assistance like that throughout the state. So that's something we are really proud of. And on top of that down payment assistance, you also have access to that $2,500 closing cost credit. Next slide. So here are the income limits. And as you can see, few moving parts, and it's very specific to property location. So if you are applying for the Workforce Advantage Loan Program, just keep in mind the property location could potentially change your pre-approval. So in some cases, the income limit can go up and sometimes it can go down. But on this sheet, we really just want to show you kind of what goes into calculating the income. And I'll start up top where you'll see household size. So the household size is determined by those occupying the property as their primary residence. And then we back into our total compliance income calculation by those occupying the property as their primary residence over the age of 18. So that's how the loan officer at our approved lending institution is going to back into these figures. What I do want to say also, top right corner, you'll see the gateway cities, and they're on the bold as well on the left-hand side. So that's where you're getting the higher down payment assistance amount. So the gateway cities, Boston, Framingham, or Randolph, that's where you'll get that 10% of the purchase price or $50,000, whichever is less. And that's all going to be done through the Workforce Advantage 3.0 product. And the last thing I do want to touch upon on this slide in the bottom right-hand corner is purchase price limits. So that is exactly what it means. It just means the purchase price of the home cannot exceed the dollar amounts you see based on property location and property type as well. And that's something, again, that loan officer will be able to review with you and let you know if that would cause any concern to you. And that was just page 2. And here's a quick visual of the gateway cities. I know Angelo said that he'll distribute this. So if you needed to take a look, you could refer to them here. They're on MassHousing.com. So they are pretty easy to access. But once again, that's where you'll get the ability to potentially access the higher down payment assistance amount, that 10% of the purchase price or $50,000, whichever is less. Angelo, so I don't know if you just want to explain the story quick, Angelo. Of
course, I'm on mute. And one of the things I want to mention also is that, as a veteran, you have access to VA benefits. Taking on a MassHousing loan, say you want to buy a home now and 5 years from now, you want to relocate and you want to use your VA benefits. Taking on a MassHousing loan does not preclude you from in the future using your VA benefits. So you cannot come directly to MassHousing for a VA loan, but some of the lender partners that we work with do provide VA lending. And there are some benefits, some great benefits under the VA loan. So you actually have multiple options. You can take a look at what we offer at MassHousing, or you can take a look at what a VA loan may provide for you and determine which is best for you and your family. But it does not preclude you from using a VA loan in the future. And here we have Marianne and her boyfriend, and Marianne and her boyfriend purchased a home up on the North Shore using a MassHousing loan. And again, this is just to show you that there is opportunity to still buy in Massachusetts, and there's some great benefits. And interest rates are moving up. There's some other things that are taking place, but there's also some other resources that will be coming online within the next several months.
That's a great point. That picture actually reminded me of something I want to bring up as well, Angelo, is you noticed that it said her and her boyfriend purchased the property. With MassHousing, you do not have to be married to go on the application like the VA does. So sometimes that may be more benefit to you. If you are looking to purchase with your significant other and you need their income to qualify for the mortgage, that's just another reason why MassHousing may help you out and be more of a benefit to you when applying. Did you want me to continue, Angela?
Yes, please do.
Sure. So we tier everything as far as what we would consider the best execution for you as the first-time home buyer. So first and foremost, Workforce Advantage 3.0, that's going to be the best loan program that MassHousing offers. So if you're interested in MassHousing, I always tell our lending partners to start there and try to get the first-time home buyer into the Workforce Advantage product. But like we mentioned, it's not a one-size-fits-all, and we certainly do our best to try to understand that. And our next product would be the first-time home buyer conventional loan. So you still have to be a first-time home buyer. You have to meet the first-time home buyer income limits that you see on the right-hand side. And this is a little bit more streamlined, so it's not based on household size, but it's going to be based strictly on those applying for the mortgage and going on the note and deed to the property. And something we always say at all of our presentations, and kind of the easiest way to put it is, you're either on all of the documentation or you're completely left off. So you can't choose to not be on the mortgage application and then add yourself to the deed. It's an all or nothing type of policy with MassHousing. So it's just important to keep that in mind as well. You can use this to purchase 1 through 4 unit properties and condos. And you, once again, if you're getting our down payment assistance, you have to get your mortgage through MassHousing, your first mortgage. And as always, the $2,500 closing cost credit would be available to you as well. On the left-hand side, you will see the down payment assistance, and the parameters are a little bit different in the Workforce Advantage feature offers. And through this program, your down payment assistance feature is 5% of the purchase price or $15,000, whichever is less. However, repayment is required in conjunction with your first mortgage. So this is going to be at a 2% interest rate, amortized over 15 years, and to be due upon sale or refinance of that property. And just to give you an idea, you're roughly looking at about additional $97 a month, which in the scheme of things, to hold on to your hard-earned savings or hold on to 401k, not liquidating anything, your checking and whatnot, kind of a minimal dollar amount to make sure you hold on to that in case there's something that you want to fix up once you purchase the house, or just to have reserves to make you feel comfortable. This is a great option for down payment assistance as well. And this next product, this is what I call kind of our traditional MassHousing mortgage. So we still have down payment assistance available. Do not have to be a first-time home buyer unless you're using that down payment assistance. And this is our highest income level product. So you go up to 135% of area median income. And with all of our conventional loans that require mortgage insurance, you have access to that MI Plus payment protection benefit at no additional cost. And you can use this to purchase 1 through 4 unit properties and condos, and the income's calculated the same way. So those applying for the mortgage and going on the note and deed to the property. And once again, the $2,500 closing cost credit would be available to you. But what I do want to say is, even though we go up to our highest income level here that you see on the right-hand side, based on where you're purchasing the property, down payment assistance is only available in gateway cities, Boston, Framingham, or Randolph. So if you're looking at the max income levels and need down payment assistance, it is going to be specific to the property location in the sense that it has to be a gateway city, Boston, Framingham, or Randolph. And the parameters replicate the previous product. So the DPA, the down payment assistance, is 5% of the purchase price or $15,000, whichever is less. And it's going to be at that same 2% interest rate amortized over 15 years. And once again, due upon sale or refinance of that property. So we also offer a renovation feature, and this is available on all of our conventional loans except for Workforce Advantage. And what this is purchase and renovation, purchase and rehabilitation, you may hear. And what we do is allow you to finance both the purchase of your home and the renovation costs into one mortgage payment. So you'll just have one monthly mortgage payment, and this allows you to finance the renovation costs. I know Angelo mentioned earlier too, as far as inventory goes, this has proved to be a little bit more of a popular option than in years past. So this is something to think about if you find a home that's in need of some repairs. Purchase and renovation feature is a great option for you. And simplest way to put it is you're going to reach out to the loan officer. You're going to get pre-approved for a dollar amount that you're able to finance, and the purchase price plus the cost of the rehabilitation has to fall under that dollar amount that you were pre-approved for. And we also have an FHA version of the Workforce Advantage 3.0. And down payment assistance is exactly the same. So in the essence of time, this is going to be that 0% deferred DPA and the higher dollar amount in the gateway cities. So the 50,000 or 10% of the purchase price, whichever is less. Remainder of the state is the 30,000. So 10% of the purchase price or 30,000, whichever is less. Either way, it's still going to be 0% deferred. So you're not making a monthly payment on that until you sell or refinance the property. On the right-hand side, some of the highlights. So you still have to meet the Workforce Advantage household income and purchase price limits. And that was the orange form that we reviewed early on in the presentation. And this is insured by the FHA. So the monthly FHA mortgage insurance premiums and the upfront mortgage insurance premium would apply. That's administered by the FHA. But with that being said, to make it more cost effective for you, or more affordable, I should say, is we're actually going to cover that upfront mortgage insurance premium. And what that means is you do not have to finance that into your total loan amount. So that's a significant cost savings. It will lower your monthly payment. We mentioned again, no asset test, and that's across the board on all of the products that we're reviewing. You also have the ability to access the $2,500 closing cost credit, and you can use this program to purchase 1 through 2 unit properties in condos as well. And something else I did want to mention, Angela, you could still
Sure.
go to the next slide. That's perfectly fine. But on
Okay.
our FHA loans, both of our FHA loans, they're insured directly by the FHA, as I mentioned, and there would be no MI plus payment protection benefit on those 2 products.
Thank you, Rich. So we're moving towards the end here, and I just wanted to get you into the process again. Once you've completed the first-time homebuyer class, the certified class with one of our nonprofit partners, that's your first step. The next step is to meet with a MassHousing approved lender. These are banks, mortgage companies, credit unions. They will pre-approve you for your first mortgage. They will also, once you've determined where you want to reside and what type of property you'd like to purchase, they can help you determine what the down payment assistance will be. Once you've gone through that process, if you want to get back to us, we'll be happy to answer any questions for you. Then we want you to stay in touch. Some of you may not be looking to buy right away. An option is to subscribe at masshousing.com to our newsletter, where we will keep you up to date as to some of the market changes out there, new programs that will be coming online and be made available to you. And there will be some in the upcoming 30 to 60 days that you will hear about. We're a quasi-public agency. We do not share your information, but it is a way for you to keep in touch with us by subscribing to our newsletter. So we're just about there on time. What I want to do is to open up the session to questions. This is another family that purchased a home back in, I think it was 2019 or 2018. But what we'd like to do now is I'm going to go into the chat, and then we'll open up the session to any questions that you might have. And we want to thank you for listening today. You can reach us via Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Rich and I are located, our information is located on masshousing.com, and we'll be happy to answer questions for you via that access also. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and we will go into any questions that are available. And I see one, buildable lot and building a home. So one thing that we, as a quasi-public agency, we don't do is construction loans. We do renovation loans. So if you find a property that already has a building on it, we're able to assist you, but we are not able to do straight construction loans. But we'd be happy to refer you to one of our lenders that may have access to construction loans. And I see, I'm just looking at, okay, some of the, so I don't see any other questions right now, but what I would do, I would like to turn it over to our host and for any questions that they may have or any closing remarks that they might want to make. We want to thank you again for inviting us in. We love doing this. We want to make as many people aware, both the folks who are the professionals and especially the first-time home buyers. We want to make sure that they're aware of all the opportunities, all the resources that are available. And we want to again thank you for this great opportunity.
Great. Thank you very much, Angela and Rich. We do have one more question here. Someone was curious about benefits available to veterans who are not first-time buyers. I think you mentioned the $2,500 closing credit. Is that just to first-time buyers or just any veteran?
Rich, you want to take that to maybe talk a little bit about MassHousing mortgage, which doesn't have to be for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, so the $2,500 closing cost credit is reserved for service members and veterans who are first-time home buyers. But we do have our traditional MassHousing mortgage, as I alluded to, and there could be some down payment assistance potential depending upon property location. But as far as that closing cost credit goes, that is for first-time home buyers.
Great, perfect. Well, I want to thank both of you for your time and for the very comprehensive information. I think that was an excellent presentation. And just to make everyone aware, this will be available as a video that you will receive in your email. So you'll have access to this entire webinar. So again, Angelo and Rich, thank you very much for joining us and for the presentation. And for everyone who joined us, thanks for joining us and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.